Hello, my name is Nicholas Adams. I'm running for City Council, and I've been a proud resident of the City of Kamloops for about 24 years. I grew up here, I've gone to school here, and I've been fortunate to start a number of businesses here, and more importantly, nonprofits. And in some of those nonprofits and events and stuff that I've been lucky to be a part of in Kamloops, I've faced a lot of challenges, so I'd like to be able to give back to our community and address those challenges. In a lot of what I've done, I've heard a lot of stories about people who have seen a lot of the same challenges I have, who have a lot of the same concerns I have, but I've also seen a lot of people with different views and different concerns. Kamloops is unique in the fact that everybody has a wide number of backgrounds and interests and stuff like that. Where else do you have kind of a historically resource-based town moving toward more an academic and service-based town? So it's weird to have a community with such a wide variety in it, and I'd like to be able to address all those different demographics. My main priority is to make sure that the regulations and bylaws and stuff that we're putting in place to control larger ventures don't wash out the small person, the young person trying to get into their first business or first public venture in a nonprofit or some type of social enterprise. We got to make sure that in trying to control larger ventures, to make sure that they have the community's best interest at heart, we don't just steamroll the people who do have the best interest at heart. I think we've done a lot in attracting young people here with the university, with a lot of the more tourism and sports and stuff that we're bringing into the town. As far as retaining them, these young people are going to want to start families and move on. So I think one thing we need to address is doctors. We do have a shortage of doctors in the community right now, and I'd like to see more doctors here. From there, it's more activities and getting young people to not only participate in the activities we have, but participate in creating more of those ventures. I'm a bit biased here because I've been fortunate to volunteer with them for some time, but the 2141 steam train of the Kamloops Heritage Railway has been a really great resource in our community, and it really epitomizes the fact that that's the history of our town. We've been a transport hub since the very founding of Kamloops, and even before that with the meeting of the rivers and then later the rail and then the highways. So I think if people really want to see the history of our town and a really neat thing to get to be get to see and be involved with and kind of interact with is the train. I think the biggest challenge that our community faces is that we have a lot of urban sprawl. We have a lot of communities building kind of outside the core areas where we do most of our commerce. So what we should be doing is finding central parking. It's unfortunately that it would be hard to service public transit to all those communities. We should extend that, but if we can have central places where people park and walk and bike from those areas, I think we'd see a lot of benefit from not kind of forcing people to a bus schedule that way. It's hard with being everywhere. We're going to address that in a large way with infill in the next 20 years as part of CAM Plan, and I think infill and getting people in the cores and making those cores more walkable is going to address a lot of the transit issues. Being a kind of really very topographical city, being a lot of hills and stuff like that. Bikes are a hard thing to do, but I'd like to see more individual bike lanes. As a person who does ride in Kamloops, I find you're either not supposed to be riding on the sidewalk or it's too dangerous to be on a road. So we need to find a good balance there. I think that the various demographics that our town has is probably its biggest asset and its biggest challenge. Often some people say, well, we don't need this resource or we don't need that attraction just because they're part of the demographic that does or doesn't use those services. So the biggest challenge is bringing all those viewpoints together and being able to address them in a way that benefits all Kamloopsians. I see a huge opportunity in, as we move toward more a service-based labor force, is bringing in more of those, a lot of medical and retirement type services. That's really where our labor base is moving right now, and we should address a good chunk of that. I was really fortunate to be part of the founding of Kamloops Makerspace, and it's something that I think's brought a lot to Kamloops, and it brought a lot to me personally. I've learned a lot, and it's a huge part of why I want to do this, so I'm really proud of that.